You're listening to the Business Wealth Impact Podcast, your source for empowering information and cutting-edge ideas from the world's top minds. I'm your host, Jeanne Amlour, founder of seven-figure coaching company, Jeanne Amlour International. Join me on a journey to unleash your potential and create your highest success. Welcome to Business Wealth Impact. Hello and welcome to another wonderful episode of Business Wealth Impact. Today we have another exciting, wonderful guest, John Mitchell. John is an author, entrepreneur, and creator of Think It, Be It, revealing the full secret of success with a 12-minute-a-day technique and patented AI algorithm to give driven achievers an edge. Welcome, John.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you here. So tell us a little bit about this 12-minute technique and exactly how to do it. And then we'll key into how you came up with this.
Well, essentially, we're taking the central concept of Think and Grow Rich and applying it to people's lives. Because as you know from reading Think and Grow Rich, it says there's a secret for success, but the author only gives us half of the secret. And so when I was 50, I just wasn't as successful as I thought I should be, uh, both in career and in my personal life. And so I'm like, well, how am I going to change that? And it comes to me to find the top book in the world on success and apply that book literally word for word to my life. And essentially, I had two goals in my life: to make enough money so I didn't have to work and find the woman of my dreams. And so on the money, I was always making 200 grand, 300 grand a year. And I know this sounds materialistic, but I realized I had to start netting $1 million a year if I was ever going to have the spectacular life. And so the other thing that was going on in my life was at 50, I'd never been married. Although I did a lot of interviewing, just couldn't find the right one. And so, like a lot of people, I just felt like I wasn't as successful as I thought I should be, right? A lot of people feel that way.
For sure. So what happened? What happened at 50? And how did you just picked up Think and Grow Rich and said, hey, wait a minute, part of the secret's missing and I'm going to find that?
Well, yeah, essentially. I mean, I turned 50. Those are my two goals. I'm like, how do I change things? This pearl of wisdom comes to my head. Find the top book in the world on success and apply it literally word for word to my life. And so I'm all excited because I discover, some of you probably know, Think and Grow Rich has been read by 150 million people, and it's the top book in the world on success by a factor of 10. But the problem is, once you start reading it, you realize he says there's a secret to success, but he only gives us half of the secret.
Yes.
And so in my case, I mope around for like 3 weeks and I'm bummed out. And finally, one day, I just wake up and go, John, come on, just man up and figure out the damn secret. And so I immersed myself in the book, probably read it 20 times over 2 months, and I figure out the secret and a 12-minute-a-day technique to apply it. And then I started applying it to a new business I was starting in the reverse mortgage field. And suddenly my income starts doubling and doubling and doubling to where, like, approximately 4 years later, I'm blessed to be making 25 times the 200 to 300 grand a year I'd been making the prior years.
Wow.
And so what was really powerful, I mean, of course, I felt totally blessed, but what was really cool was I could see exactly why it was happening. I was just playing the game of life at a higher level. I could do things I could never do before. I had a level of control over my life beyond what I'd ever experienced before. And I became fascinated that you could take two key scientific principles and apply them to your life and so materially impact your success. And so 10 years ago, I decided, okay, I'm going to share this with the world. And a month or two after I sold my company, I meet the former chancellor and president at the University of Texas. He says, hey, you got to teach this at the University of Texas, and why don't we teach it together? And that led to him introducing me to the athletic director who said, I want to learn this 12-minute a day technique. And so I teach to him, and that leads to becoming the mental coach for the 18 head coaches here at University of Texas. And so today I have a class called The Science of Success, The Science of Leveraging
Mm,
Yourself. And I teach it to adults through my book and through licensing the methodology to coaches.
amazing. Okay. Now you were telling me the licensing, I mean, all you really need to do is read your book, right?
Right, right.
So why is it licensed then? Or is that a really bad question to ask you on air?
No, 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 that's fine. No, sometimes people want to really go deep,
Hmm.
and they want a coach to apply it to them,
Mm,
but they can get it just from reading my book.
mm. Well, we're going to get it now because we're here. So
Yeah, that's
I
right.
love your story. And then we're going to go into how you found your wife in a bit as well. Okay.
Okay, okay.
First of all, I love that. I've read that book many times, and you're right. There's something missing. It's like also the secret, the movie, The Secret. The thing that's missing is actually doing the work. That's the thing that's missing in the film, right?
Exactly,
Right?
exactly.
Okay. So in the book, what is the missing piece?
Okay, let me explain the secret
Mm,
to you, and let me give you a little backstory, and I'll share something really personal. So when I turned 50, there was a little more going on than just feeling the scarcity of time. My mom was dying of pancreatic cancer.
mm,
And so every day I'd go and see her after work, and I'd love on her and hold her hand and just talk to her. And I would then go in the cold, dark hospital parking lot and cry my eyes out for like 30, 45 minutes every night.
oh,
And this is going on for like 8 weeks. And I'm living in Dallas at the time.
mm,
And so, um, I'd never experienced this level of emotional upheaval before to this level. Now, obviously, I knew I was losing my mom, and that was why I was crying. But I knew there was something deeper than that. And what I realized, maybe not at the time, but I later realized, like my mom and dad gave me everything.
mm.
They sent me to Jesuit high school, and uh, I really didn't have the money to pay for it. They sent me to the University of Texas. I didn't have to pay for a thing. And so, as my mom's life is leaving this world, I'm reflective about my life. And I just feel like I'm letting her down with my life because at that point in my life at 50, all I had to show for it was an average life.
Mm,
And I hated the average life because I just knew I was capable of so much more.
mm.
And so as I look back, I realized that that feeling of letting my mom down was like rocket fuel and causing me to go deeper than any other human on the planet ever had ever done to figure out the full secret of Think and Grow Rich. And so, does that make sense?
That does make sense. I'm actually thinking about how I went through something similar. I was 54 and I had the same revelation. Like, what am I doing? Like, yeah.
Right,
So I
right.
really relate to that. I'm sure a lot of people do. So, okay, that's fascinating. So while your mom was dying, was it at that point that you said, I got to, that was the 50-year-old pivot point was when your mom was dying?
Well, I was already, uh, feeling the scarcity of time.
Mm,
But sort of what happened was during this time, I'll share with the audience the secret now.
mm,
So during this time, probably like she was in the hospital probably eight
mm,
weeks. About the 6 week point, I go and see her. And on this particular night, it is snowing in Dallas, which doesn't happen very often. So I go, I see my mom, hold her hand, love on her, go in the hospital parking lot, cry my eyes out for 45 minutes. And I start driving home, and it just feels different
mm,
because I see the big snowflakes hitting the windshield. And so I get home, plot myself in my nice, comfy, comfy chair, and I start reading Think and Grow Rich. Keep in mind, this is probably the 20th time I've read it. And on this particular night, I read that your daily actions determine your success in each area of your life.
Mhm.
The cumulative effect of your daily actions determine your success in your career,
Mhm.
in your marriage,
Mhm.
in your health.
Mhm.
Okay, I buy that. Never thought about it in such simple terms. Then I read that 95% of your daily actions are unconscious.
Yes.
95% of your daily actions are unconscious. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting. And so now I'm ready to go to bed and I wash my face and brush my teeth and I put my little head on the pillow. But I cannot stop thinking about 95% of my daily actions being unconscious.
Mm.
And then it sort of hits me. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. If my daily actions determine my success and 95% of them are unconscious, then I don't actually control the very thing that's determining my success.
Exactly.
And this was like getting hit by a bolt of lightning. And I remember sitting up in my bed and I'm looking at in my backyard, the glistening snowflakes. It truly feels like a surreal moment. And I'm like, well, then what does control my daily actions?
Mm.
Well, if they're unconscious, it means my subconscious mind controls them. And that was so pivotal because then I'm like, oh, now I see why I haven't been more successful. I mean, it is not from a lack of drive or a lack of intelligence. It's from having a false belief about success for 50 years.
Mm.
And that false belief is that I controlled my daily actions.
Mhm.
And I dare say that everybody listening to this today has that very same false belief.
Mm.
And I know that I thought, well, I know I control something. Well, yeah, I control my intentions,
Right.
but my actions are subconscious, 95% of them.
Mhm.
And so then the full secret essentially comes to me. And here it is. What you envision in detail with emotion on a daily basis is what shows up in your life.
Okay. That's something that a lot of people already know.
Right.
Right.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know about that.
Okay, well, I've done a lot of mindset. So, the whole psycho-cybernetics. Maxwell
Absolutely.
Maltz talks about that, the 15-minute of envisioning with emotion. I think the piece
Yeah.
that's missing for some people is the piece where they're not using emotion, they're just sort of lying there. But if you have emotion, and even they say even get smells that you're pleasant, so the smell. Okay, so you're saying what you're talking about is the creative visualization part.
Well, first of all, I love that you mentioned psycho-cybernetics
Mm.
because I read that book when I was
Yeah.
19 and it was
Mhm.
profound.
Yes.
But here's the evolution of it that
Mm.
I think you'll understand. So again, what you envision in detail with emotion on a daily basis is what shows up in your life.
Mhm.
And what that means is you create immense clarity about your life,
Mhm.
exactly the person you want to be, exactly what you want to accomplish, and precisely how you're going to achieve your clearly defined
Mhm.
goals. And you take that clarity and then you put it on a template that I've created,
Mhm.
and it helps you establish the clarity.
Mhm.
And then you feed that to yourself every day, first thing in the
Mhm.
morning, takes 12 minutes a day. And then three things happen.
Mhm.
First thing that happens is you feel immense control over your life. Well, of course you would. You're feeding the succinct articulation of your desired life to yourself.
Mhm.
Of course, you'd feel control. Second thing you experience is confidence, which is direct result of the control, but you also experience way less stress
Mm.
because the mind thrives on order. And when you're feeding the succinct articulation of your desired life to yourself each day,
Mhm.
you're like, hey, I'm just executing the plan.
Right.
I got a plan.
Mm.
I got a detailed plan.
Mhm.
And then the third thing that you experience is the right actions happen automatically without thinking.
Mm.
And it takes 21 days to rewire your
Yes.
autopilot, but that's when the magic happens is after approximately 21 days.
Okay.
And you're impacting all three key areas of your life: your career, your marriage, and your health.
Okay. So we use your template.
Mhm.
We do what it says. We plug in clarity on what exactly we want our lives to look at like and how we're going to make that happen, right?
Right,
Now, for me, let's talk about the movie The Secret, which was based on Think and Grow Rich, right?
right, right,
The biggest criticism of that I had, and many people, because I was not the only one that noticed this, is a lot of people would watch that over and over and over again, thinking that watching The Secret was going to make a magic fairy dust sprinkle on their head. And my
right.
criticism was, yeah, you got to do the work. You have to action.
Exactly.
So, are you saying in the book, what was missing in the book specifically? Because now I'm just fascinated because I read the book a lot. Um, what's missing in the book that's the half part? Because it does talk about creative visualization in that book.
Well, in the book, he says the half, he gives you half of the secret. And the half he gives you is that everything starts with a thought.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, where do you go with that? I mean, I agree with
Right.
that, but where do you go with that?
Uh-huh.
And I think what I've brought to the table is the how to for the book Think and Grow Rich.
Ah.
Um, and just to help your audience, let me give you the fundamental science here.
Mhm.
It's amazingly simple.
Mm.
Here's how the human mind works. Conscious mind sets the intention and is influenced by logic.
Yes.
Subconscious mind, which controls your daily actions, or 95% of them, is only influenced by repetition.
Mm.
And so the example is, let's say you want to lose weight. Conscious mind sets the intention to lose weight based on the logic of the health benefits.
Mm.
Well, the reason people are failing to lose weight is not from lack of intention, but lack of influence in the part of their brain that is controlling their actions,
Mhm.
their subconscious mind relative to eating and exercising. And so that's why when you take and feed the succinct articulation of your desired life to yourself each day, which includes all the right
Mhm.
actions in each area of your life, that rewires your autopilot so that those right actions happen automatically without
Without
thinking.
discipline. Really, it's taking the place of actual thinking about the discipline of it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Discipline, I mean, it takes discipline to a whole new level
Mm.
because the way most people are operating today is they're just focused on their
Right.
intentions. They have the intention to do this discipline or
Yes.
that discipline,
Mhm.
but but the subconscious mind is controlling the action. So, the beauty of the subconscious mind is it's so easy to manipulate
Mm.
because it's the obedient servant of the conscious mind, and it doesn't have logic to go, well, wait a minute, I don't know about that, or I
Mm.
don't.
Mm.
It just does what this conscious mind tells it to
Mm.
do.
Okay, so let's go back to you. All right. So
Okay,
you say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to figure out the missing part of the secret." And then you just wrote down in detail everything that you wanted to happen and then you started imagining that every day like a movie, right? Which is
right,
also
right,
psycho-cybernetics, is also NLP because they've drawn from that as well. Creative visualization, Shakti Gawan in the 70s, I wrote that book. Also, Florence Shinn talks about that, which was
hmm
1920s, I think, the game of life and how to play it. So, but you created an algorithm, right? That now
right.
is really great tool, right? Now, what happened and how long did it take you when you decided, okay, I'm going to figure this out, and you did? How long did it take you to start practicing this till you started seeing things magically happen in your life?
Well, it all happened pretty damn quick.
Mm.
I mean, once I figured it out, it took me a couple weeks to figure out all the clarity, and then I had to create the template, rudimentary form of it. Of course, I'm 20 years deep into the template now,
Mhm.
and it's gone through many iterations. And so, but once I started feeding it to myself, within 21 days, I'm seeing the right actions happen automatically, which is something I'd never experienced before.
So it's actually letting go of control.
Yeah, you could look at it
I
like
mean, it
that.
really is. If you had control of your actions and now you're subconsciously controlling, your conscious is letting go of the control so your subconscious can just go on autopilot.
yes, and, some people sort of miss this. You're not changing the percentage of 95% of your actions being unconscious and 5% conscious. You're not making more of your
Mhm,
your actions
mhm.
conscious. You're just taking control of the 95% that are not.
Right, right.
And like I said, the easier part about it is a lot of people go, "Well, I don't know what you mean by clarity in each area of my
Mm,
life." Well, no problem. You just answer the 50
mm.
questions in the algorithm, press a button, and 10 seconds later, it's customized to your life, the
Wow.
template
Oh, by
is.
the way, everybody, this will be in the show notes, so please go grab that. Okay, so then you met the woman of your life. How did that happen?
Well, very intentionally, I put it in my life GPS template. I'm like, here's exactly what I'm looking for in a woman, and here's the person I need to be to attract that woman.
Mm,
And she came into my life about 2 years later.
wow. Okay. And then your business went from two or $300,000 a year to like 6 million, you're saying, per year?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. And you're saying that you can see it wasn't like magic. You could see, oh, this is happening because of this. Is that what you said?
right, right.
Okay. So do you still have that business?
No, I don't.
Ah.
I sold it so I could share this with the
Oh,
world.
okay. Wow. All right. So you're saying that when you figured this out, and now it's of course upgraded, you within 21 days you started to see things change. Right.
Right.
Now, I'm a big believer in visualization because I started doing visualization years ago and I got very clear about certain things and the exact things happened as I would imagine them every day. So
Law of attraction.
right, law of attraction, but also it's the mind movie and it's the so you're
Yeah,
really thinking about the same thing, but it sounds like you're helping people drill down more because it is hard for people when they say, "What do you want?" People go, "Well, I'm not sure. I guess I want this."
yeah,
It's really hard to drill down on what we really want because sometimes we think we want something, but deeply we don't really want it that much. Does that make sense?
right. Absolutely. Well, Sean, think about that. Let's create the epiphany that I had at 50 for your
Mm.
audience and for you.
Yes.
You game for
I'm
that?
sure. I'm open.
Okay. So think about this. How many epiphanies have you had in your life that radically changed your life from learning something on the outside from somebody else?
Quite a few.
If you had to place a number, what do you think?
From learning from someone else?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I don't know. 20?
Okay. Okay. Well, everybody's different. I've had in my life 4 epiphanies that
Mm,
radically changed my life. And so, the epiphany that I got from Think and Grow Rich is that 95% of my daily actions are unconscious. And therefore, I absolutely had to gain control of those unconscious actions
yes.
because my actions determine my
Mhm.
success. And so my question to you is I think I already know the answer to this, but do you believe that 95% of your daily actions are unconscious?
Yes.
Okay. So what are you doing about it?
Well, I started doing something about this 6 years ago, and I became a pretty successful coach because of some of this stuff. So,
Right.
yes, okay, so various things. I do a lot of mindset. I do creative visualization, and I put lists of
Mhm.
what I want my life to be, and I imagine, okay, that's happening. So I have done a lot of this work. Have I done it all? I did write a list of exactly what I want in my life. And it was what do I want and what do I do to get it? So I've done, yeah,
Exactly.
I do that thing with the paper. What do I want? What do I do to get it? Okay. Or I want this, and I'll ask myself, okay, I want this, but do I really want it? First, I say, do I really want it? Or is it like, because sometimes I think I want something, and I'm like, actually, I don't really like buying a house. I don't even know if I want to buy a dream house. I don't know if I want a dream house because I like where I'm living. Do I want it because everybody
Right.
says I should have it? So I've been really questioning what I think I want. But usually it's I want this, or I say I have this already in my consciousness. And I think that wanting is a grasping kind of thing. So I say, I
Yeah.
have this, right? You know about that. And
Right.
what do I do to make that happen? That's the question I ask myself.
Well, that is good. And I'll say this, some people in the audience, this is new information that 95% of their actions are unconscious.
Mm,
And so let me clarify what the science just a little more. What's happening is you're taking an unconscious action, and then a couple of milliseconds later, you're becoming conscious of it.
mm,
And that's why some people will go, well, wait a minute. I'm I all of my actions are conscious because I'm aware of everything I'm doing.
mm.
No, that's not right. The action is happening unconsciously, and then a millisecond or two later, you're becoming conscious of it.
Right.
And watch this. I think you'll find this interesting. I use Chat GPT all the time, and let's just verify this if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
So, G, I got a question for you.
Of course. What's your question?
Is it really true that 95% of your daily actions are unconscious?
Yes, it's generally believed that a large portion of our daily actions and decisions are driven by unconscious processes. Our brains handle many tasks automatically, which helps us function efficiently.
Is it really 95%?
The exact percentage can vary depending on the study, but it's commonly stated that a significant majority of our actions are influenced by unconscious processes. It's not exactly 95%, but it's a significant proportion.
But generally, the conventional wisdom is it's about 95%, right?
Yes, that's a commonly accepted figure in popular psychology.
So one other question. So, is it really true that what's happening is you're taking an action unconsciously, and then a couple of milliseconds later, you're becoming conscious of it? Is that right?
That's the idea. Our brains often initiate actions unconsciously, and we become aware of them shortly after.
Yes. You're talking about impulse.
Right,
Yes.
right. Right. And so as you hear that, what is your takeaway from that? From all the I want to see if you got the epiphany.
Well, the epiphany is we need to control our subconscious by planting that in there consciously. Right.
Exactly. Good. You're one of the few that has gotten it sort of immediately
Mm.
because like tell me what your morning routine is now.
Well, when I wake up, I do something called instant shift technique that I developed with certain things. Is that I
Right.
believe if we get past anxiety and trauma in the very morning, that the whole day goes better because we wake up with these residual thoughts of worries and stuff. So instead of
Right.
dragging that through the day, I do a clarity thing where I figure out where in my body, because your body reflects your thoughts. I figure out where in my body that stickiness or hurt or pain or whatever it is, and why. Not okay, why is there
Mhm.
something? And I pull out thoughts. I go, okay, because I'm worried about that subconsciously. What else? And I pull out subconscious stuff that maybe wasn't, because I'll start thinking, no, what's behind that thought? And I'm like, okay, I've got this worry about this and that. And then I breathe into that space. And then I do this shift thing, and I literally clear all icky feelings of pain or anxiety in the morning before I get out of bed. Okay, so that's
Wow.
something, yeah. I developed this over the years with, befriending your fears and all of that. And I found a very quick way of doing this within 2 minutes. So I coach my clients on that. And what keeps us from success is emotion. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all. I figured that out. It's just emotions, because it's emotions of underlying fear, anxiety, more fear, more fear, and more
Right.
anxiety. Really, it's just fear and anxiety, okay, and doubt, which is all fear, and anger, which is
Right.
fear. So when you get clear and you don't have these emotions sort of stalling you, even consciously or subconsciously, you're free to then just do whatever it takes. Clear path to be successful. That's what I believe. And I've seen this with hundreds of clients. So, yeah, I mean, I've been studying this kind of thing for years, John. Okay. So, years of because I'm a coach, right? So, when I
Right.
found out that was blew my mind in like 1998 or 99, I was introduced to creative visualization, and it changed my life. So I'll do sometimes I forget to do that, but I was thinking the other day, I got to really get back to my creative visualizations. Then I do, affirmations and principles and also a vision board of like, what does it look like? And what do I want to look like? I have a vision board of what
Right,
I want my body to look like. I want to have more
right.
muscle. So I'm visualizing having more muscle. And what am I doing? I'm hiring a trainer. So
Well, and what you're doing is powerful. I mean, that's as good a thing as I've heard in a long time. But let me open your mind to maybe this is the next level up for you. Because think about as powerful as what you're doing, think about taking your life and defining here's exactly the person I want to be, exactly what I want to accomplish, and precisely how I'm going to achieve my clearly defined goals. And you start feeding that, that
mm,
has all the right actions. And that's the repetition of those right actions every single day that causes your subconscious mind after 21 days to feed them up so they happen automatically.
yeah.
And as powerful as what you're doing, which I honestly believe it is, this may be the next level up. As you process
Mm,
as you put your little head on the pillow tonight, think about, is this a better way? Maybe it's in conjunction with what you're
right. I
already
mean,
doing. Because I love what you're
yeah, but I
doing.
mean, it was kind of based because I've read Think and Grow Rich a million times, and
Right,
Psycho-Cybernetics was the very first sort of self-help book I ever read in my life because I found it in my dad's library when I was 17, and it
right.
blew my mind. And I'm so glad
Me
that I
too.
found it when I was 17 because I didn't know what self-help was, and he had an old out of print paperback he had a lot of different things. And do you know that nobody heard about that book for years and years and years, and it became popular recently? But I had read it a long time ago, and I was really glad I picked it up because it just showed me things that blew my mind at a very young age. And I
Right,
believe they were still in my subconscious my whole life, that I was even exposed to that book early on
right.
because I thought, that's right. I was reading about that. So I don't know if mine's the perfect thing. I mean, I really love my life and I have a pretty ideal life. Can we do better? Can we create more impact? Sure. We always, can do better. But I do believe, yes,
Absolutely. Well, the reality is you've got a higher level to go to,
yes,
as do I,
yes,
and as do everybody listening to this. And what I would say to people, sort of wrap up this idea of getting that epiphany, just think about the significance of 95% of your daily actions being unconscious. And that's the epiphany I want you to have, that if your actions determine your success and 95% of them are unconscious, you got to gain control over those unconscious daily actions. And hey, it only takes 12 minutes a day.
right.
I
Not
mean,
a lot, not a lot.
right,
So you do need the
right,
discipline to do the 12 minutes, which will then get rid of a lot of having to do the discipline all the time, right? Because it's
right.
like,
Yeah,
right,
exactly. That's a good way to put
right.
it.
So, choose your hard.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
choose your hard.
Right.
You're either gonna make yourself do a 12-minute thing I love doing those things for a month or so, and I do agree. You can see after 21 days, and I know that science, that you do start to do things differently, and something happens. I'm totally gonna do it. Why not? There's always a new level. There's always a higher level of loving other people. There's a higher level of
Yeah.
practicing whatever spirituality we're practicing, whether that's a religion or any kind of spirituality. There's always a higher level of practicing any kind of sport or painting or playing a musical instrument or making more money or helping more people. We're always going to be able to be at a higher level. So why wouldn't I want to go to a higher level?
Well, and you'd find this interesting. A few years ago, I decided I'm going to take what I created and find the top expert in the world on success and show him or her what I created.
Mm,
And so then again, this was about 5 years ago, I decided that Darren Hardy is the top expert in the world on success.
hmm
So I write a big check. I take my wife, we go out to La Jolla, California, spend 3 days with him. I put the template in his hand, explain how it
hmm
works. And he goes, John, people are not going to spend 12 minutes a day on this. And I'm like, what do you mean they're not going to spend 12 minutes
hmm
a day? It's 25x my income.
Mhm.
Time magazine did a cover story on the science behind it,
Mhm.
and we're applying the central concept of the top book of the world on success to people's lives. What do you mean they're not going to spend 12 minutes a day
Mhm.
on this? He goes, John, the dirty little secret in the success business is that more success is merely a preference for the vast majority of people, for 98% of the people. He says this is for the 2% that are driven.
Mm.
And once he opened my eyes to that, I used to think, oh, this is for everybody
Mm.
because everybody wants to be more successful.
Mm.
But I was looking at it from my standpoint.
Yes.
If the whole world were John Mitchell's, that would be true. It'd be appropriate for the whole world. But then I'm like, oh, I see. And so what ended up happening was we were talking off camera
Mhm.
before. I thought, okay, I'm just going to find people that are making 200 grand a year that want to go to a
Mhm.
million and my story, and I'll take them. And I to lure them in, I would give them a money back guarantee
Mm.
that if I couldn't double your income within a year,
Mhm.
they had to be making a minimum of 200 grand a
Mhm.
year, then I would give them the $20,000 a year, or the $20,000 I would charge them to teach
Yes.
this over about 8
Uh-huh.
weeks. And when you played out the math, they were getting like a 30-to-1 return over 3 years.
Mm.
And so I teach this to about 12 people
Mm.
over about a year and a half. And finally, I realized, and I never had to give anybody their money back because it always
Mhm.
worked. If they're human,
Mhm.
it works.
Mhm.
And, but then it enlightened me to like, oh, the more leveraged way for me to share this with the world is to license it
Sure.
through coaches and to do a
Sure.
book.
Yeah. Okay, so this is very interesting. What's the name of your book so people can go buy it?
The Missing Secret of the legendary book, Think and Grow Rich.
Mm.
And if you'll go to the website, themissingsecret.org, I have created a 9-minute video for your audience
Mhm.
that explains here's the secret of Think and Grow Rich, here's the science behind it, all in 9 minutes.
Great.
And it'll show you how it
Great.
all works. And then if you want to buy the book, great.
Great. Awesome. John, thank you so much for all of this. I'm totally going to hightail it to do the 50 questions because I love that. We all love that kind of thing.
Right.
Yes. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Check the show notes for the links, and we will see you on the next episode. You're listening to the Business Wealth Impact Podcast, your source for empowering information and cutting-edge ideas from the world's top minds. I'm your host, Jeanne Amlour, founder of seven-figure coaching company, Jeanne Amlour International. Join me on a journey to unleash your potential and create your highest success. Welcome to Business Wealth Impact.